Hello, everyone. This is Professor Jet coming to you today to go over the syllabus for EXS 3356. And this course is called Exercise Practicum 3, Research and Exercise Science. So for this introduction video, I just wanted to, again, go over the syllabus, lay out what the course expectations are, and then go through the schedule, and then finally just show you kind of how to navigate where everything is on Schoology. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through this document here and hit the highlights. So first of all, this is me. I'm the course instructor. My full name is David M. Jett, but I go by Mike. I have a master's in science and exercise physiology, so I'm not a PhD, so don't refer to me as doctor. You can just call me Professor Jet, Mr. Jet, or just Jet. That's what a lot of the students have always called me my whole career, which is fine. I also have a few certifications I'll just mention real quick. The CSCS, which is the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist certification. I have the ACSM, Certified Exercise Physiologist. And lastly, Precision Nutrition certification as well. So while I don't have a PhD, I do have a lot of practical experience in the field. So I worked as a personal trainer for many years, and I actually still do a little bit of that. I worked as a strength and conditioning coach with a private company, and then also I coached cross country and track for 4 years at a local high school. And I own my own gym for a number of years as well. So I have a lot of practical experience. So throughout the course of this class, where I very much hope that we can have some interaction, which is always hard when it's an online class, but we'll figure out a way. If you have any questions about your career, what you might want to do about business, personal training, anything along those lines, if you have a question about certifications, if you're interested in one of those, you want to bounce some ideas off me, please get in touch with me. We can just correspond via email, or we can set up a Zoom call as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. I don't have an office on campus because I don't live in Ohio. I live in Kentucky. So I live in Crestwood, Kentucky, which is a little bit outside of Louisville, which you may have heard of, and it's on the way to Cincinnati. So it's still pretty far from Ohio, honestly, about 60 miles or so. I put my cell phone on here just for the heck of it. If you want to have a quick question, you want to text me, feel free to do that. Just let me know who you are. Email address. So I also work at University of Louisville full time. So I use that email address a little bit more often. So I would ask you all, even though I do have a Central State email address, use my louisville.edu email address if you could. You can also send messages on Schoology. That works just as well also. But I'll check those things very frequently, so you can get a hold of me easily that way. Obviously I don't have an office on campus, so we can do a virtual office visit, which we can do by appointment. Okay, so if you want to request that, just let me know and we can set something up pretty easily. Okay. So the course description here. This is going to focus on research and exercise science. So the description, I'm just going to read to you real quick. What we're going to learn how to do is locate, evaluate, and then present research in the field of exercise science to a group of your student peers, okay? Now it's going to be a little bit different because we're not going to be doing this in person, which would be ideal, but we can still do it virtually. I think recording yourself talking is almost as challenging as actually talking in front of a group of people. So you'll still get that experience, which is good. Okay. So we're going to do that in a few different ways. First, we're going to sort of go through the process of how to access and analyze research. So over the first couple weeks of the class, I'm going to show you how to use the library resources to access articles, let you know what a good article is, where do you want to look for articles, what articles do you not want to rely upon, like basically you don't want to use a Google search to find an article. You want to use more library-based resource tools for that. So that's going to be our first goal, okay? From there, I'm going to ask you to find an article that interests you, okay? I want to approve it to make sure it's a good article, and then I'm going to have you develop a short presentation of that article, and then you're going to record yourself and upload the presentation, okay? Now, prior to that, I'm going to give a presentation on an article to give you a template that you can use, okay? I'll upload my PowerPoint, and you can feel free to sort of use that PowerPoint as a template to develop your own presentation and then present it. Like, I'll pattern my presentation in a certain way that I would expect you, or offer that if you want to pattern yours the same way. That's the goal of this, right? Is to teach you how to present on a single research article, okay? So that's going to take us through the first 2/3 of the semester. Then after that, we're going to learn about how to present on a topic. So a topic is going to require us to find many articles, okay? So what we're going to call that is a literature review. So again, I'm going to allow you to pick a topic that you're interested in. I do want to approve the topic because I want to make sure that you are able to get enough articles to use for your presentation. So I'll ask you just to sort of send me the topic, and I'll either approve it or maybe offer a couple suggestions to tweak it a little bit so we are sure that you can actually get enough articles for it, okay? At that point, again, I will present on a topic and give you sort of a template to use for your PowerPoint, but also the presentation itself. As I'm doing that, I'm going to have you start working on developing your literature review presentation, and then the last few weeks of this term, you're going to be recording and posting your presentations for all of us to view, okay? That's the plan. So let's dive into the specifics of that plan, okay? So really the only requirements you're going to need for this class, there's not going to be any required textbooks. You're just going to need a computer with internet access, okay? You're going to need Schoology, which I'm assuming that you all have, because that's how I'm going to present the information, and it's how I want you to then submit assignments, okay? With these two things, you will need library access. So you can access the library databases from your own computers, or of course, since if you're on campus, you can go to the library and do that as well, okay? I'll show you how to do the online access during one of our weekly presentations that I'll do. So next, I have the different course requirements. So what I've done here is listed every single assignment, okay? What it's called, a short description of it, when it's due, and then the point value. So if you just quickly scan this, you're going to notice every single assignment is due on a Friday, okay? And more specifically, it's due by the end of the day. So the due date for every assignment will be at 11:59 p.m. on the Friday of a given week, okay? So you have the entire week, Monday through Friday, or really you could say Saturday through Friday, to watch the presentations, do the required readings, and then, develop your assignment, okay? I don't know that I'm not going to go through each one of these now. I will, but the first one is pretty simple, okay? Because this class is going to involve us presenting to each other, talking to one another, I thought it would be a good idea to just sort of at least let me be introduced to who you are, what your interests are, right? So the first assignment, which is on Schoology already, is basically just to submit. It doesn't have to be a Word document. You can just submit it right in the submission box. Either way is fine. Who you are, what your name is, where you're from, what your specific career interest is. So, for example, maybe you want to be a physical therapist, you want to be a registered nurse, strength and conditioning coach, whatever, just tell me that. And then lastly, if you tell me a couple specific topics in exercise physiology that interest you, okay, and why. So try to pick at least two things: what it is, why you like it. All right, so what's an example? that I could use. Okay, I'm interested in resistance training or weightlifting because that is something that every human needs to do, but most people don't know how to do it the right way, right? So if I was a student, I could commit myself to learning the proper way to lift weights and then teaching my clients, my friends and family, my patients, whoever, the proper way to do resistance training. Okay, so pick two things you're interested in. Tell me why you're interested in them, and this could also kind of get the wheels turning, your gears turning about what topics you might want to explore for your presentations. Okay, because you're going to basically have two things that you're going to have to research this semester. So throwing those two things out now is fine, and you can change them. You could say two things for the first assignment, and they could have nothing to do with your future assignments down the road. Okay. So moving on from there, I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to scroll down a little further and go over the grading policy. So there are 320 points available this term. There are 7 individual assignments that are worth 10 points. There is one 50-point assignment. And then there are 2 presentations. Each of those is worth 100 points. Okay. I do round. So here's my rounding policy. Anything 0.5 or higher will be rounded up to the nearest whole number. Anything 0.4 or lower will not be. We will not use the plus or minus system. It's just going to be a straight up letter grade. And here are the point ranges there. Okay. Then we have the calendar. So I'm gonna sort of move through each of these items pretty quickly and just give you an idea of what each individual week is going to look like. So I already told you about the first week. It's a simple thing. Just introduce yourself. That's the first assignment. Week 2, we see the dates here. Our topics are, what a basic research article looks like, okay, and how to read it, okay. The reading for that week is going to be an article that I have already posted on Schoology. I'll show you where that is here momentarily, okay. And then your assignment is to write a quick summary of my article, okay. So I'll give you an idea how to do that when we do the presentation about reading research. So what I'll do is I'll create another recording, much like the one that you're watching, covering these topics and showing you how to do things. And then after you watch that, you'll read the article, you'll submit a summary of the article, okay? That first thing is just to get you used to sort of like, if you've never read a research article before, just to get your feet wet there, okay? Week 3, we're gonna kind of stick with the introductory format, and we're gonna talk about what good research looks like. I'm gonna show you then how to locate it using the library resources, and then talk to you about how to cite articles properly, okay? There's not going to be any specific reading that week for you to do. Your assignment, though, for that week is then to find your own article. Okay, so after you've watched the presentation, I want you to start even thinking now about what type of article, what subject you might want to research. Okay, so after you check out the presentation, you're going to get on the library website or go to the library, find an article that you're interested in, and then you're going to just submit the reference to me using the format that we talk about in the presentation that I give. Week 4, I'm going to talk to you about preparing a presentation. Okay, I'll give you another video like this to kind of talk about what to do. The reading for you all is just to read your article. Okay, no assignments are due that week. The following week, I'm going to present my presentation on a different article. So I'll have a second article posted that you'll want to read, and then I will record and give a presentation over my article. So this is going to be the template that you can use for your article presentation. Okay, the assignment on that week is to submit a summary of my article that I presented. And also you're going to submit some questions, and that's described here, okay? So I want you to read my article and write down 3 questions that you have from that article. Imagine this would be like if I was giving the presentation and something in your mind was like, well, what about this? And you raised your hand and asked me the question, then I would answer it, okay? So what I want you to do as part of that 4th assignment is to submit some questions you might have from the presentation. And I'll record a video probably answering some of those questions, okay? Back to the schedule. So the next week, I'm just going to have what we'll probably do is I'll schedule like a Zoom meeting, and we'll just have all of you, or if you want to, attend the meeting and just ask questions about how to create a presentation, okay? Again, your article is what you're going to want to be reading here, okay? And your assignment at the end of this week after attending the forum is to submit a rough draft of your presentation that I can look over, okay? To then prepare you for the following 2 weeks is when you're going to record yourself giving your presentation and then submit the link to me to grade it, okay? So that's going to be your first presentation. That's going to be worth 100 points. I'm going to have you submit the rough draft so I can take a quick look at it and give you some pointers about what you might want to edit prior to submitting it for your grade, okay? Now, real quick, as far as the grade goes, I do have a rubric here at the end of the syllabus that you can check out. So this first one is for the article presentation. You'll notice that the grade is broken down into 4 categories: your ability to present, the introduction, the ability to present the methods, your overall organization of your presentation, including the bibliography, and then basically how well you are at speaking, your pace, etc. So 4 sort of different categories that your grade will be made up from, each one worth 25 points. All right, so jumping back to the schedule. So that'll take us to week 9, March the 15th. We're then going to jump to the literature review aspect of the class. So the article's done, 1 article. Now we want to figure out how do you present on a topic which might involve 10 to 20 articles, right? If you read, when you read your research article, you'll notice that they cited up to 20 to 30 other articles, right? That's kind of what we're going to work toward in this phase of the class. So what we will do first is I'll present on what a literature review article looks like, what it is, what it means, and I'll post one that I'll ask you all to read, okay? The assignment for that week is just for you to submit a topic for your literature review. Now, it doesn't have to be related to that first article that you did your presentation on. It can be, doesn't have to be, okay? I'm asking you to submit the topic to me, though, so I can make sure that there's enough information available on it. Like if you pick something that's too specific or it's kind of too new on the scene, then there might not be enough research available for you to find the requirement of 10 to 12 sources, which is what I'm going to be looking for, okay? So once you get approval, you're then going to, we'll transition to week 10, okay? I'm going to give my presentation, which again will serve as a template for you to use for the production of your presentation, okay? Now, actually, I forgot to mention something. The literature review presentation, I'm going to ask you all to partner with someone, okay? Mainly because if you all individually do one, it's going to take too long, okay? So, and honestly, in life, you need to learn how to work with other people on projects. Like, I do that all the time in my professional life, okay? Often, if you ever write a book or an article, you're going to be working with other people, okay? So I think this is a good skill for you all to pick up in this class, okay? So I'll ask you, as we approach March, start maybe identify, somebody that you know in class or that you know from, I don't know, on campus or whatever. And we want to partner everybody up. Okay. If we have an odd number of students, we could have one group of 3 if we need to. Okay. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So anyways, back to the schedule. Your assignment for the week I give my presentation is to submit your bibliography. Now, this is the 50-point assignment that I talked about earlier, okay? So what I'm going to ask you to do is to find, let me scroll up to make sure I tell you the right number. For your bibliography, this is point number 8. Each student must pair with another student and locate at least 10 articles related to the approved topic, okay? And then you're going to compile the 10 sources into a bibliography, and that's what you're going to submit by Friday the 26th, okay? And again, this is worth 50 points. So this is basically going to show me every article that you're going to use in your literature review presentation, okay? All right, let's go back to the calendar. The following week, we'll do another forum where I'll schedule a Zoom meeting. So anybody that wants to attend that to just ask questions and just discuss any particulars about your presentation, that'll be what we'll do that week. Meanwhile, you'll continue working on your presentation. An assignment due that week is I want you to send me one article from your body of research, okay? The reason for that is I'm going to post it on Schoology so the rest of the class can read your article, okay? Prior to watching your presentation, the audience needs to be educated on the topic, so I'm going to ask each student to read an article from each presentation that's given, okay? So what I'll do is once you send it to me, I'll upload those onto Schoology so everyone has access to them and to be able to read them and be prepared for the presentation. From there, guess what's left? The presentations. So what I'll do is I'll have a sign-up sheet basically for this. I'm going to divide the class into 4 groups, and for whichever week you sign up, that's when your personal presentation is due, okay? I'm spreading these out because I'm going to ask the rest of the class to watch these, okay? And I don't want you to have to watch 20 in 1 week, so maybe if we only have to watch 5 per week, that is a much more doable thing, okay? So we're going to finish this class up by April the 30th. Now, I'm sure you have questions about, well, how long do these presentations have to be? They don't have to be very long. I give you a guide up here. So your article presentation should only be 10 to 15 minutes long, which is not very long. It may seem like a long time to you right now, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not very long, okay? I've already been talking for 23 minutes right now, okay? And then your literature review presentation, 15 to 20 minutes. So again, that's not super long, okay? So don't panic and think I'm gonna make you talk for an hour. That's not the case, okay? I know this, and I want you all to know this, that the longer you go, the easier it is to lose people's attention. So it's better to keep presentations shorter if possible. And that's a skill, right? So hopefully you all get some experience doing that. So if you ever have to do this in your graduate school or your job, you're more prepared. After all, that's what college is all about. In my opinion, is preparing you to have success in your career, okay? You might not think what I just told you, this whole present review of this class is going to help you in life, but you'd be wrong, okay? Because in life, you're going to have to talk to people. In your job, you're going to have to talk to people about a topic of interest or about whatever field you're working in. And this is a chance for you to practice doing that, okay? Let me jump back up here and see if there's anything else in the actual course requirements. Again, I would read these, as these are coming up, just pull the syllabus out and read kind of a description of what the assignments are, and I'll obviously talk about them in the videos that I post as well. I think that's it for this. Oh, I did want to show you, then I also have a rubric here for the research presentation. So this is the literature review. Now this one, you are going to be working with another person, but you will be graded independently. Okay, so don't panic if you partner up with somebody and they don't do a good job, because I'm going to grade you independently. Okay, so just be aware of that. But it's set up in a very similar fashion. It's not an even 25 points across the categories. It's 20, 40, 20, 20. So this here is the big component, which is basically how able are you to summarize the key point of each article, right? You're going to have 10 articles at minimum. What you want to be able to do is read those articles and draw a quick conclusion from each. Like this, these authors found this, these authors found this, right? So your ability to pull that information in a tight fashion is the major component of this presentation. All right, so let me quickly pull up, hopefully this will work. I was going to just log into Schoology, but I should have had that pulled up already. My apologies for the delay. It is. I just want to kind of give you the layout of where everything is here. It looks like some of you have already submitted assignments, which is good. So Syllabus is here. What I'll do is I organize everything in a weekly course content folder, which is, if you took my class last semester, it's exactly the same. So in this big folder, we have each week divided into its own subfolder. So when we get to that week, all you need to do is jump on here, click on the week we're on. We're in week 1 right now. So any assignment will be in here. So the assignment for week 1 is going to be your personal introduction. Just click on that assignment and submit it, okay? If we go to week 2, for example, here's my article. So this is an article that I want you all to read, and I'm going to kind of use this article to create the presentation. Now, I haven't made this presentation yet, so that's not in here now, but it will be. But the assignment is actually already here for you as well. Let's go back and look at another week, week 3. Again, here's a couple different references I'm going to use in the PowerPoint that I'll create, or in the video, and then the assignment is already there as well. Okay. And oh shoot, that was the wrong button. One more. I've already kind of preloaded all of my articles in, so if you want to read ahead a little bit, a lot of these articles are already posted in there, okay? So that's pretty simple. Again, all you need to do really is focus on this folder here, because that's where all the content will be present, okay? So I think that's it. I won't be coming back to you this week, but what I will probably do is record things over the weekend, and then I'll have them posted by Monday, so you can start on Monday and kind of move through your week, right? So for example, the presentation for week 2, I'll have posted by Monday of this week, and that'll be consistent throughout the entire semester. I might get it in there earlier, but at the latest, I will have the presentation loaded into Schoology for you to view on Monday of the given week, okay? So that's it. If anybody has any questions, feel free to email me and ask. And if there's anything that's pertinent that I need to kind of readdress that I might have forgotten about or clarify, I can always post another video to answer the question for the whole class, or we can schedule a Zoom meeting as well, okay? To be honest with you, last semester I didn't have a lot of success getting students to attend Zoom meetings, and I don't know why that was. Maybe I didn't schedule them at the right times. But just let me know. Like, if you feel like we need to do that on a weekly basis, every other week, whatever we need to do, I'm I'm here and ready to help you all be successful. Okay, so Professor Jet signing off for now. I'll come back and talk to you all next week. Bye.